David here with Figboot on Pens. At the conclusion of each year, I have traditionally posted either one or multiple top 10 lists, but the last couple of years I've done something a little bit different, and it is that time of the year to continue the tradition of covering my favorite items from this past year. In regard to pens and related items, this has been a great year of discovery for me. Lots of new brands and new products. The items that made this list might be a brand new product introduced within this past year, or something that's been around for a while that I only recently discovered or had the opportunity to review. I believe everything but one of the items I will be covering in this video has been reviewed over the last year, so I'll put links to all the reviews in the notes below. What I'm going to do for this recap is go over my top 10 pens, my top 3 inks, top 3 accessories, as well as talk about some of my favorite videos of this past year. And just to reiterate, the items I'm sharing for this video are not my overall favorite in my collection. They're my favorite from the items which I acquired or discovered this year. Okay, to get things rolling, please join me over here at camera 2. To begin with, let's talk about accessories. I have 3 that I wanted to highlight. Each of the 3 are rather large in size, so while I'm talking about them, I'll be showing video from the applicable reviews. First up is the Allegory Visionary. Now, this is an item which has been a vital part of my everyday carry for several years, and with a Kickstarter campaign earlier this year, the company expanded the lineup of their portfolios. This is an item I literally carry around with me at work every day. I just use it to plan my day as well as take notes. I just love it. Next up, in regard to accessories, is an item from Galen Leather, and that would be their XL Medic Bag. While I like the original Medic Bag, the size was just a bit too small for me to find useful. This larger model suits my needs a little bit better, plus it's just plain cool. I currently use it to keep all of my correspondence supplies organized, notepads, envelopes, wax seal supplies, things like that. Then, the final accessory is another item for Galen Leather, and that is their Magnum Opus pen case. Now, over the last year and 3/4, I haven't had much opportunity to travel much with my pens. Hopefully, in this upcoming year, that will change. Maybe our local pen club will again be able to meet, and I might be able to attend a pen show or two. We'll see how things go. But when I do, and I need to take some pens with me on some field trips, then I will definitely be using this 12-pen case. Almost any pen in my collection will fit in it, and it looks really sharp. Okay. Next up, we have my 3 favorite inks. First up is an ink from Private Reserve, which is Copper Burst. I had a chance to test out a large number of Private Reserve inks this year, and Copper Burst is my favorite. It's a fairly saturated golden brown with a decent amount of shade and sheen. It's quickly become one of my go-to brown inks in my collection. This is what it looks like in comparison to Diamine Ancient Copper. You can see it's pretty much like Ancient Copper, but with a bit more shading. And then here it is with Leonardo Noche Moscata. This is what the bottle looks like. It's a nice 60 milliliter bottle, a really large neck to it, which I enjoy because that means you can get basically any pen you need to in here. Next, we have an ink from a retailer I'm glad I discovered this year, and that is the Roman Bronze Oxidation from Stilo Steele. This blue-green was something that I really loved at first sight. It really complements a number of pens in my collection, and I just really care for the color. It's very similar to Leonardo Smeraldo, and then this is what it looks like with 3 Oysters Aqua Green. This is what the bottle looks like. It's 30 milliliters. I think this is a cool looking bottle, but I do wish that it had a bit more ink in it. It's a little bit shallow, but I really, really enjoy this ink. For the final ink, I have something from Kiwi Ink, and that would be their special memorial ink called Quite a Rough Customer. Quite a Rough Customer was the username for a member of the Fountain Pen subreddit who sadly passed away this year. 100% of the proceeds from this ink were donated to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And while this ink is no longer available, in the end, over $5,000 was donated to the worthy cause. In addition, I really care for this shade of orange. I would say that it's a little less saturated than some of my other favorite orange inks. In regard to some comparisons, this is what it looks like with Diamine Blaze Orange, as well as Fountain Pen Revolution's Tangerine Dream. And this is what the bottle looks like. I like that here on the label, they put a little bit of a sample of the color so you can get a better idea of exactly what it looks like. To begin with, I had 3 honorable mentions. First up is the Diplomat Elox. I just love the looks of this pen. It's created using a complex double anodization process, which is a unique technology being applied by Diplomat for the first time in this pen. The overall combination of the gunmetal trim and this black body and vibrant orange grooved rings work really well. And Diplomat's steel nibs are some of the best out there, in my opinion. This is one of the few items I'm showing today I've yet to review, basically because I just recently received this pen and my review queue is rather bloated at the moment. We'll see if I get around to reviewing this one. Quantities of this model have been very limited, and I'm uncertain if retailers will be receiving any additional stock. For the most part, I shy away from reviewing products which aren't available to purchase, so we'll see what happens with this pen. But even though I haven't had it in my collection for a long time, I've greatly enjoyed it. Plus, the cap is just so satisfying. The capping mechanism on Diplomat's pens are just really, really cool. Next up, we have 2 of the Tactile Turn seasonal releases. We have the Nautilus here on the top, and then on the bottom we have the Stealth. The Nautilus is one of Tactile Turn's side click models, and the Stealth is a bolt action. Tactile Turn has really done a great job with their seasonal releases. Each has gotten something different and unique, and I've gotten a lot of use out of both of these models. For the final honorable mention, I have this pen from Spoke Design, and that would be the Icon. I'm a big fan of pens which bring something new to the table, and the Icon does just that. I like the long concave section here, and that I also like the long slits into the barrel, which provide a pop of color with the underlying tube. Another cool thing about the Icon is that you can order additional sections and barrel inserts in a variety of colors. This is the vibrant purple, and you could change up the look of your pen very, very easily. On top of that, this nib performs very nicely as well. Okay, on to the top 10, and these are in no particular order. First up is a company which was a new discovery for me, and that is Rockster pens out of the Wales in the UK, and this is the Daydreamer. This material is just spectacular. Let me give you a close-up look at that. This is unlike anything I've ever seen. It is an amethyst dyed stabilized makeable burl. The process involves actually using like a pressure or a vacuum to do what's described as impregnating the wood's cellular structure with resin to improve the stability. Now, Rockster isn't creating this material, but they use it as well as similar materials in a number of their pens. This purple resin section just matches really, really well. This was really one of my favorite discoveries of the year. Ash, the gentleman behind the brand, does a great job of getting the most out of some interesting resins and other materials. You know, I always talk about pens having cool factors. Well, the cool factor of this pen is off the chart. Next up is a pen from Matthew Martin. I had an opportunity to take a closer look at a number of his pen offerings earlier this year and was very impressed. My favorite of the bunch, however, was this baby here. This is the Matthew Martin OG Chonk. You just gotta love a huge pen named Chonk. This was one of the pens I was sent on loan for review, and I liked it so much that I purchased it. It's made from titanium, and the exterior has a kind of subdued flame treatment. It brings some nice colors into the material. This pen has some extremely high bill quality. I love this thick section as well. If I ever did a video on my favorite sections, this Chonk would certainly make the list. I love the huge size as well as the spiral design. It really helps you maintain a solid grip on this metal section. This year, Matthew took a step back from pen making to focus on some other aspects of his business. He does a lot of art and other metal work. However, I did notice that recently he posted a number of new pens for sale. I'm not certain if they're still available, but if they are well worth checking out. Okay, this next spot is a bit of a cheat. It's dedicated to pens from Leonardo. Leonardo has been rather prolific this year in the number of new releases, limited editions, and retailer exclusives. It would be unfair to choose just one, so I wanted to highlight several of them. First off, I would be remiss if I didn't begin with my very own Memento Zero. This is the Figboot on Pens model. I really love how this Jonathan Brooks material turned out. It is so vibrant. And then that led to this Memento Zero model right here, which is my next Figboot on Pens project, which went on sale today, and it is called the Carolina Midnight. Again, from Brooks material. I really care for the depth of this material here. I think it turned out really great. Okay. In regard to some other fantastic Leonardo pens from this year, we had the Memento Zero Grande, and this is out of some Brooks primary manipulation material. Sometimes it's important to purchase pens as a reward to yourself. Earlier this year, I was paid for a speaking engagement, and I used that money to purchase this pen. It's fun to be able to tie experiences to pens, and it makes them all that much more special. Then finally for Leonardo, we have their Pura line. Their series of 3 pens is just amazing. I love this black with the ruthenium trim. And then this orange with the gold trim looks great. And then the blue with the silver trim looks amazing as well. There's one more though. This frosted model was an exclusive offering through the retailer Stilo Steele. And this one just blew me away. You know that feeling when you see a pen for the first time and you just know that it checks all the boxes for you and you'll certainly pick one up? That was the case for me with this frosted. I just think it's amazing. And every pen in this lineup is fantastic. Okay, that was my last cheat on this list. Everything else moving forward is a single pen. And next up on this list is an offering from another company which had a very good year this year, and that was Gravitas, and this here is their Skittles model. It's made from stainless steel and has a nice heft to it. I really care for this rainbow PVD treatment. The longer section on this pen really works for me, and it just feels very comfortable in the hand, and it feels substantive, which I like. On top of that, these pens are very reasonably priced. This model here sells for around $90. It's one of the better pens you could pick up now for under $100. Now, when I review pens, I kind of live with them for a while before writing the review, and I keep them with me for a while and have them on my desk. And then after the review, most get put in with the rest of the collection, but this next pen on the list is one which has stayed on my desk even a few months after the review, and I still find myself reaching for it again and again. And that would be the Kilk Celestial. I am very enamored with this pen. The company is based out of Turkey, and this pen is just very well made. I love the contrast between the deep purple and the milky white. The trim is all sterling silver, and this band is just fantastic. I love adding things to my collection which are unique, and this pen is certainly that. The broad nib on this pen is fantastic. And as I have said, I find myself reaching again and again for this pen. It was a really solid offering and something I'm really glad that I discovered. Okay, 5 down and 5 to go. Next up is a pen from the Philippines, and that would be the Kasama Una. This pen is made from a unique material called Ultima. It's very durable. I like the unique design as well. This section is unlike any section in my collection. I even like how the barrel separates from the section a bit further back than you would expect. The company makes a smaller model, this one here, and it is called the Tala. The section on the Tala is, let me actually open up the right end of the pen. The section of the Tala is slightly different, but essentially it's just a smaller version of the Una. These pens at time can be a little bit difficult to get your hands on. Production is limited and intermittent, and when they are available, they tend to sell out very quickly. But if you can get your hands on one, virtually everyone I know who has purchased a Kasama is a big fan and really loves their pens. Keeping with the Ultima theme, the next pen on my list is an offering from Shown Design, and that is their pen called the Ultima. Shown Design has mainly focused on smaller pocket pens. This is one of the largest pens they have produced, but as you could see in comparison to the Kasamas, it's still smaller than both of the Kasama models. One of the things I care for about the Ultima is that you could purchase a section which holds a Bach 380 nib, which is their number 8 size nib. Now, you have to purchase the nib separately yourself. Shown Design doesn't sell those, but I really like seeing this huge nib on a rather small pen. The Bach 380 nibs come in either gold or titanium. This one here is titanium, and it performs very well. Shown Design is one of those companies that is always looking to come up with new and unique designs or materials, and it'll be fun to see what they come up with in the upcoming year, but I really enjoy their Ultima model here. 3 more to go. Next up is a pen which really surprised me. I like it when a company evolves or tries something different out of their comfort zone, and that was certainly the case for this pen from Narwhal, which is the Nautilus. It's a pen which is completely different than anything they have previously produced. It is made from ebonite. There is a really nice stamped band, and I really like the clip that has some nice patterning. And then how cool are these portholes? It's a fantastic package, and it's reasonably priced for what it brings to the table as well. If you have the chance to play around with one of these, I would strongly suggest it. It's a lot of fun. Penultimate pen here, and this one was something created by an artisan out of Warsaw, Poland by the name of Michael Kolka, and his company is Tamanuri Studios. And here is the pen. Honestly, I'm not sure if it has a name or not. While most urushi artisans spend a lifetime perfecting a single urushi technique, well, Michael seems to be driven to perfect them all. You can check him out on Instagram, but he's always experimenting with different techniques, and no 2 pens he creates ever seem to be the same. The technique used on this pen is called karinuri, which is a technique in which a textured underlayer and layers of contrasting color or material are sanded smooth to reveal intricate patterning. This particular pen required 45 layers of urushi and approximately 80 to 100 steps in order to create this final product. And you can see here, I just think it looks amazing. And it's very much one of a kind. So if you are in the market for a unique, one-of-a-kind product from a very skilled craftsman, you could check out Tamanuri Studios. Okay, final pen. While I appreciate the artistic talent required to create a lot of the Maki-e pens out there on the market today, there weren't many reasonably priced ones, which spoke to me personally, but then I happened to come across this one here. This is one of the Namiki Nippon art series called Mount Fuji and Wave. There's lots of things I love about this pen. First of all, it reminds me a great deal of one of my favorite pieces of art, the Great Wave off Kanagawa. The cresting waves here with their fingertips at the end of the crests kind of give the waves a life of their own. Like when they come crashing down, they're going to grab a hold of whatever they can. And then there's Mount Fuji in the background and all of these birds flying around. Owning a piece of hand-painted art like this on a pen makes it all the more special. Pilot makes some fantastic nibs, and the nib on this pen is no exception. It's outstanding. I just love this pen. So to wrap things up on this list of my favorite things this year, I thought I'd mention a few of my favorite videos I put out this year. By the end of this month, I will have put out a total of 104 videos, basically 2 a week. Inevitably, there's going to be some which you are more fond of than others. I wanted to highlight 4 which stood out in my book for one reason or another. There was a very popular video with almost 2 million views of a gentleman in England by the name of James Garwood making a fountain pen out of 2,000 segments of wood. He was very kind enough to loan me the pen to review, and it was fun to play around with a fairly well-known one-of-a-kind pen. Next, Gina Salarino of Custom Nib Studio let me borrow a number of nibs with her specialty grinds, and I did a review where I showed the difference between them and how they each performed. I will say that I haven't really gotten that much into specialty grinds. Who knows? That might be the next step in my pen journey, but being able to play around with a wide gamut of grinds at the same time was fun and educational. Gina does some great work and is one of the folks I have had work on my pens and someone I trust to do a good job. Now, I'm not overly concerned about view counts or things like that in relation to this channel. I understand the topics I cover are fairly niche. No one with a fountain pen channel is going to be pulling Mr. Beast type numbers, but it's interesting how sometimes a video can hit the YouTube algorithm just right. For seemingly unexplained reasons, I had a video of the drill log Kickstarter. It was an interesting product, but not without its flaws. Now, this is the chart of views per day. You can see that when the video came out, there's a spike, which is typical, and then it levels off, and that's normal. But then 2 months later, something happened, and all of a sudden the video was being shown to more people in their recommended videos, and the numbers spiked. It got to the point where there were around 14,000 views a day before it then came back down to normal levels. It was a fun little ride, albeit a bit random. Especially since the Kickstarter campaign for the drill log had ended about a month and a half before the spike. Maybe it was because of the thumbnail. While I always try to make the thumbnail visually interesting, I thought that one turned out well. Finally, the last video I wanted to mention was my April Fool's video this year of the Rhodia self-correcting notepad. This was a video I had been thinking about for a while and was probably the video I spent the longest on this year. Between writing and recording and then the post-production special effect work that needed to go into it in order for it to be halfway believable, it took quite some time to put everything together. And it received a nice reaction, and I feel folks enjoyed the joke. I'm not promising an April Fool's video every year, but who knows? I haven't given much thought about what I could do for next year. We'll see. Okay, so there you have it, another year of reviews. In October, it was the 6-year anniversary of this channel. It has been a lot of fun. I have enjoyed the creative outlet of producing content. The professional relationships that I've built have been amazing, as well as the significant broadening of my social circle with tons of new pen friends. I look forward to being able to produce bigger and better things in this upcoming year. Being able to launch a pen was a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And I look forward to my next project, which will be coming up for sale here in the next couple of days. And then I'm planning some additional exciting projects for the future as well. I greatly appreciate all of the support and the time that you've taken out of your day to watch the content that I produce. I hope that it provides solid information as well as some entertainment for you as well. Okay, I hope you stay safe and stay healthy. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.